President Donald Trump has made his first of potentially several nominations to the Supreme Court, this time going with an anti-science ideologue named Neil Gorsuch, a federal judge from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit. This is the seat that Republicans may well end up stealing from former President Barack Obama. Will be an absolute deciding factor from a mathematical point of view as the ninth on a Supreme Court that has been with only 8 justices for nearly a year. In total reality show fashion, it happened at the White House. Let's take a look and listen to this entire thing.
Today, I am keeping another promise to the American people by nominating Judge Neil Gorsuch of the United States Supreme Court to be of the United States Supreme Court. And I would like to ask Judge Gorsuch and his wonderful wife, Louise, to please step forward. Please, Louise, Judge. Here they come. Here they come.
Wow, awkward. Yeah, so Trump a little confused there, bringing on Neil Gorsuch of the Supreme Court to be on the Supreme Court. Not clear Trump knew what the hell was going on, but in any case, it happened. Neil Gorsuch is the son of Ronald Reagan's Environmental Protection Agency head, Ann Gorsuch Burford. He regularly speaks at Federalist Society conferences, who helped Trump build his Supreme Court list. Potential conflict of interest there. This reminds me of when Dick Cheney was brought on by George W. Bush to help him find a vice president, ended up picking himself. And again, the guy who was involved with the organization that helped Trump make the list is the guy that Trump ultimately picked here. Very, very right wing. This guy is a proponent for literal, and these are words which might sound sort of innocuous, but they really are code for an extremely ideological right winger. An originalist, a textualist in terms of his interpretations of the Constitution, very similar ideologically to Antonin Scalia, would not change the balance of the court in that sense with regard to when the court had 9 individuals with Antonin Scalia. And SCOTUS blog references or describes Gorsuch as an ardent defender of religious liberties and pluralistic accommodations for religious adherents, as well as a, quote, natural successor to Antonin Scalia. I don't know about you, Pat, but anybody that would naturally be able to succeed Antonin Scalia is someone I'm very scared of.
And they're all strict constitutionalists in all 4 states' rights, except when it comes to choosing the president of the United States.
Yes.
In 2000, Bush v. Gore.
Says he wept when he found out that Antonin Scalia had passed away. Voted for the Hobby Lobby ruling that gave companies the right to deny women contraceptives, said that Obamacare underwrites payments for drugs or devices that can have the effect of destroying a fertilized human egg, which is, of course, medically inaccurate, right? I mean, it's just not accurate that that's what contraceptives or IUDs or morning after pills do. This is total non-science BS. Strongly against assisted suicide, which is legal in 5 states, and euthanasia. He's written a book about these things. We have a cover of the book here. The Future of Assisted Suicide and Euthanasia. No judicial record on abortion, but if you had to guess, Pat, what would you think this guy's views on abortion are?
I would say he would call himself pro-life.
Yes, that's how he would describe himself. Strongly endorsed by the powerful Americans United for Life law firm. He is according to NARAL, Pro-Choice America's president. Gorsuch represents an existential threat to legal abortion in the United States. No judicial record on marriage equality, but he said it should be settled through legislatures and elections, not courts, which of course tells us he is at odds with the Supreme Court ruling from a year plus ago, which said state bans on same-sex marriage are not allowable. And he also voted for ruling against a transgender woman who was being denied consistent access to hormone therapy while incarcerated. This is bad. This is really, really bad. And we actually have a quote here about his view on sort of more broadly issues of the power of different branches of government. American liberals have become addicted to the courtroom as the primary means of affecting their social agenda on everything from gay marriage to assisted suicide. What's so ironic is that based on that comment, there are right-wingers who would say, this guy is clearly against using the courts for activism. But you can tell from his quote, Pat, that this is his judicial activism. He is a judicial activist in this way.
This is kind of the milquetoast, run-of-the-mill Republican choice. But the bigger angle here is, what are the Democrats going to do in response? Because they're kind of in between a rock and a hard place here.
Well, I think that, number one, we shouldn't even be here, right? President Obama had nearly a year left on his second term when Antonin Scalia passed away. Republicans said, well, we're too close to the next election, so we're going to wait so that the American people can choose the president who will decide on who will replace Antonin Scalia. Americans had chosen the president that would decide on Supreme Court picks up to January 20th of 2017. It was completely arbitrary, capricious, and a complete political sideshow for Republicans to not allow President Obama to have his say there. Chuck Schumer has said Democrats are going to demand 60 votes, which hints that there may be a filibuster coming here. 60 votes are needed to break a filibuster. I am completely on board with Democrats doing everything they can to fight this to the end. Block it. Wait 4 years. Say, hey, you know what? After all, Donald Trump only has 3 years, 11 months, and roughly 15 days until he would be replaced by the next president. Why don't we wait so we can let the American people have a say? And what I'm getting at is that there's no magic about 11 and a half months, right? That we were only 11 and a half months away from the next president being inaugurated, so Obama doesn't get to pick. Well, then Trump doesn't get to pick either by the same harebrained logic.
I mean, I think they're kind of screwed either way, because either you allow this to happen, you allow this judge to go through, and then you're kind of considered a pushover liberal in the Senate, or you obstruct, and then this long history of bipartisanship when it comes to putting people on the court is just completely gone with.
It was gone when Republicans said that Merrick Garland isn't getting through. And I completely think that, although you're right that in a way it may be between a rock and a hard place, do not allow this guy on. Do it. Just use the exact same roadblocks that Republicans used.